Okay, welcome to the Village of Buchanan, June 23rd, 2026 workshop meeting. In case of emergency, please use the emergency exit there, or there's also a staircase behind the elevator. Please do not ever use the elevator in case there's an emergency. So please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance. Thank you. Okay. So first on our agenda is a discussion with the Centennial Committee. I just wanted to catch up with everyone, review where we are, and discuss a date. And it's on June 19th, which is a Monday. So whoever's on the committee, could you please raise your hand? Okay. 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 So just a brief discussion. Do you think it's wise to have it that weekend, June 18th and 19th, considering Juneteenth is on that Sunday? Do you think it might be too busy of a weekend to do that, or shall we go on to the following weekend? But then the following weekend, it's tough time of year. It's tough time of year. The following weekend are graduations. If anybody would like to comment, just come up to the podium. Or is it something we want to still consider? Mr. Bell, longtime Buchanan resident.
Good evening, everybody. You think it might be the weekend before?
Even before
the 19th?
that? Before the weekend of the
Yeah.
19th. So what is that, the 12th?
Yeah.
11th, 12th? I think that's the 11th or 12th. That's not Father's Day, is it? No, I don't think so.
Just an idea.
Okay. Because what we need to do is start doing some planning. Are we having a picnic? Are we having a parade? Are we having, what are we going to do for that?
Right. Well, I know, like, I was talking to some of the members and like, oh,
The mic's not working.
Yeah, we're having problems with our mic.
Oh,
So
okay.
we're all going to have to speak up tonight.
All right, speaking to the mic is being recorded. but you
Weekend
can speak
before?
louder for the phone.
Okay. Speaking to some of the members of the committee, we feel it might be more advantageous to meet separately and
Okay.
discuss ideas and, plans for it, and then report back to the board. I don't know how the board feels about that, but
All right. And then if a board member wants to attend, they could also.
more than
attend.
welcome. Yeah.
Okay, good. So you will have a discussion and then we can all meet back in September. So we'll do something quarterly.
Sounds good.
Okay. All right. So
Okay, guys. All right, so what we just discussed was that moving the date from June 19th to June 12th. And then the committee meeting separately, apart from the board meetings, and then report back to the board what we
all right.
come up with.
And then let the board know when you're having the meeting. So if anybody wants to attend, they can, listen in.
Right, yeah. Anybody's welcome to attend. I mean,
Yeah.
you know,
Well, yeah, let
on board.
people, like, we'll put it out on Facebook and then if anybody wants to come, they can show up. All right. And then we're, talk about parade, the pin, the journal, different things like
Yeah.
that you're interested in doing.
I'll try to speak up so everybody can hear me. I recently served on the Centennial Committee for the high school.
Oh, okay, good. You have some experience.
So some of the things that, went on there, I think from what I hear from other people is that like it wasn't well promoted. So whatever we do, I think we should promote it maybe better than what we did. Is there going to be like a picnic dinner? Maybe like famous residents, past and present. Sorry, that's fine. And then like a family type day, like Buchanan Day. Perhaps something honoring past mayors. Have the history room open, with someone there to kind of like guide and explain things that are there. Um, the village website, maybe some enhancements to the history section of the, website. Possibly come up with a logo for it.
Mhm.
Getting sponsors.
Okay.
A commemorative plaque. T-shirts, trinkets, that sort of thing.
All right. And maybe a time capsule?
Yeah, is there any time capsule that's here or anywhere in the village?
Oh, Cindy says yes. Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah, we did that at the high school and then we opened it up and we had all this stuff displayed in the high school library. It's pretty interesting stuff.
Cool.
Yeah.
So it would be, Cindy, would it be from the village things or would it be from the school when the school was here? Oh, okay. Cool. All
Okay.
right, good.
Very good.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Anyone else from the committee would like to say anything? Yes, sir.
Hi, just for everyone, it's not working, right?
No, it's not.
No, yeah.
We're recording anyway.
Okay, just for everyone, that's either on the committee or present for and the board and the mayor. My name is Michael Champion. My family is, my interest in this committee is great and goes back a long way. My family has lived here over 100 years when they came here, at least in 1905. My grandfather was Joseph P. Yafkak the first, who was one of the original trustees of the village, and actually, in my estimation, the really first civic official of the village, since he was appointed temporary clerk, and he was the one actually to receive the documents of incorporation from the state because someone had to be appointed to do so. So, we go back a long way, and they had owned the deli on the corner of now Blakely Avenue and Albany Post Road, and several of those homes in that area. And here I am still. So
There you go.
I'm privileged to be part of this centennial celebration. And thank you.
And do you have any documentation or pictures or anything of your family that go back and,
Sure.
all right, that would be great.
Yeah. I'll work on that. As needed, and I know other people in my family, and I think the town of Cortland or the Peekskill Museum even has some pictures of the store when it was actually still. Those are very, very rare. I have pictures of my family members there and whatnot. But yeah, I can I can work on that and.
Good. Yeah, I would ask anyone here in the village, any historical pictures of businesses, anything. If you, wouldn't mind, we would get a copy of it so that we could display that also.
Yes.
Okay.
So thank you,
All
everyone.
right. Thank you.
Very exciting.
Thank
you. Perfect. Okay. All right. So yeah, we just wanted to do a quick update to see where we were with the centennial, and thank you, John Bell, for offering to have that separate committee meeting. Appreciate it. Okay. The next is a discussion regarding petition from Landy Associates to amend the Village of Buchanan zoning map. Before we start, this is a workshop, so I would just like to remind you that we present and discuss and ask questions at the workshop, and we're not officially accepting a petition at a workshop. So tonight, I know you wanted to have some discussion, so we're here to talk about, I know I have a few questions and a few comments, and I think I want to start out with, I did go on the walk. Steve Laker and I were on the walk. Chris was there, and we did see what the proposal was with the restaurant, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But I'm just going to put this right out there. I am not for this project. With everything in the development, everything that's happened here, I think it's too much, too fast, too soon. If this project goes through, we will have over 432, I believe, apartments. I've seen, what you're looking to do. And I just don't think the village is ready for that. So I'm just being upfront and honest with you.
What we appreciate it.
Yeah, but of course, but I'm not done.
Sorry. Keep on.
And then if we do your project, we're going to have over 424 plus we have now 11 townhouses in the loop. I firmly believe that this project will be a tipping point for our services. We are going to have approximately 1,000 more people, approximately. And I think the benefits of doing this project financially will outweigh what we would be getting from the project. The restaurant, the board has talked about doing a survey with the residents to see what they want over there. I have always wanted to do something with that parking lot over at Lens Cove. It's in tough shape. It was a dump. Our engineer has said it would cost approximately $1 million to do that, to recap it, et cetera, et cetera. And I don't know how much environmental you've done over there, but there was someone who had dumped construction material. There was a big hoo-ha in the day. So behind that restaurant area, someone had allowed a construction company to come in there and dump construction waste. That had to be capped, so that will not be touched, that area, because it was capped. So I'm not sure how much you've invested into that.
Madam Mayor, if first of all, let me. Good evening, everybody. My name is David Cooper. I'm a
Yes.
partner with the law firm Zarin and Steinmetz here, representing the petitioner Landy Associates. With me is Patrick Normoyle and Chris Lynch, the project managers, as well as my colleague Aaron Warner, who you know. What I would say, Madam Mayor, is as I'm sure you're aware, and I know the whole board is aware, and I know your council is aware, a municipality, whether it be a village, a town, a city, or anywhere else in New York State, is not supposed to prejudge an application, right? Their decision-making is supposed to be based on empirical data in the record before it. So I understand what you're saying, Mayor, that you're concerned about certain things that you've said about overdevelopment and I guess a drain on resources. Let me finish.
I'm going to let you finish, and then I will continue to speak.
That's what this
Yeah,
process
sir.
is for. Right?
Okay, but once this process goes forward, if we accept the petition, the process is going forward and it is done. So that's why I would like to, if we accept this, what you want us to accept, the process begins.
Correct. And what we're saying is, let the process begin. Let us prove out whether or not the 232 units that's going to be proposed and the $2 million in improvements to the Lens Park Cove that you were just referring to is going to be a drain or a benefit to the village. Let me just point out something before. All right, this board studied the AMS project, right, in which it adopted a negative declaration after going through all of the studies, just like we would do in this case, a fiscal analysis, an analysis on tax revenue, an analysis on EMS, all the other village services, as well as visual, traffic, et cetera. All that will go through. When you studied AMS, you concluded that the project, 148 units, would increase, the increase in population would result in a, quote, fiscal benefit to the village of $645,000 annually. It's in your negative declaration. It's right. I'm taking this right out of the document.
Administrator has said 300,000.
And
So who's correct here?
I'm just quoting your document. But what I'm pointing out to show is you found that after looking at all the empirical data. For the board to say tonight, hey, we think there's going to be too many impacts, so we're not going to accept it. Legally, that's improper because you don't have the data before you to say this is going to be too impactful. We're here tonight just to say, please let us start the process. I understand there are some concerns. We're not saying, hey, we're not going to review them. We're going to review them. We saw your Mr. Smith's memo that was just issued that said there are these issues that we want you to take a look at, that there's still stuff that needs to be in the EAF. We're ready to go. So I know we started off on the wrong foot, but let me just say, good to see you tonight. What we are asking is that the board on the 7th, hi, Patrick, how are you? The board on the 7th, there is a draft resolution to start the process. All it says is you want to serve as a secret lead agency because it sounds like you guys are the ones that want to look at all of these impacts and look at evaluate the impacts, the empirical data, the studies, et cetera, to determine whether or not this is appropriate. All we're asking for you to do on the 7th is to start the process by declaring your intent to serve as lead agency so we can start that.
So what I'm saying again is once the process starts, there's no turning back. Do I think this board should be, as it should not have been last time, as a lead agency? Absolutely not. Perhaps for the zoning change, yes. When it comes to site plan and all the planning things that have to happen, absolutely not. We should not be the lead agency.
Well, it's two different issues, right?
I
Lead agency.
agree.
Well, let me just finish. And you can talk to your counsel about this. Lead agency for secret purposes is what we're asking you to do. The respect to which board issues which approvals, that's a function of your zoning. We're not asking to change that. That is before your board. That's how you've written the code. And
The last time with AMS, we became the total lead agency. Yes, things went to the planning board for comments, but we were the total lead agency.
yes,
And I don't think we're trained to do that. I know we're not trained to do
That
that.
is how the
No.
code is written.
It is written.
Yes,
Yeah,
and
the-
unfortunately, that's how the code is written.
Right. We're right.
But
It's
it's how
two
the code is
different
written.
issues. Lead agency for secret purposes is the agency that's studying and leading the secret review. The issuing agencies, yes, that's correct. You have the site plan approval, subdivision, and zoning under your code. That's
And none of us are trained. And yes, it's in the code and none of us are trained.
yeah.
So, and I'm just being honest with you. I want to be upfront with you. There's people here that are concerned. There's people concerned in the village. I know you're here to make money. I get that. I get that. Well, if you develop, you're making money, correct? If I can. I'm sorry. As you can see, there's,
Apologize for the way.
I am not
No, no,
apologizing.
when-
I'm not
Mayor,
apologizing. Is that
done.
not the truth? Are you developers?
Yeah.
Can
you allow him to You were a speak developer.
No, and I just-
him.
I didn't finish what I had wanted to
Yeah,
say.
it's his right
I
to
didn't
say,
finish,
"Let
but
me
I had
finish."
never
No, she
finished
can-
what I wanted
she's-
to say. So I
Wait,
will allow you to speak. Go, please,
I think
sir,
you
please
should
go.
finish saying what you want
Yeah.
to say and then allow them to speak. But she's right, though. She started to speak.
Yep.
She was interrupted. Let's let her finish.
Yeah.
Let
didn't
her
interrupt,
finish.
So I didn't want to interrupt. So anyway, Mayor, thank you again for having us
Hold
here.
on. Did you finish?
Oh,
No, I did
So,
not. I
Then
have.
I think
sorry.
she should finish.
Thank you so much.
When she's done, she will let you know that you may speak, but let her finish, please.
So as I have said before, and we're just at the very beginning, and I'm hoping that this doesn't go forward. As I said, I don't think it's a positive thing. I have a right to say that. Okay, I went on the walkthrough. The restaurant, I do not believe the Village of Buchanan should be in the real estate business. We also discussed at the board last time about doing a survey for the residents, what they would like to see there. Now, I know y'all came forward and said a restaurant, walking trails, and everything like that. So, but is that what the residents want? I mean, that's something you have offered, but is that what the residents really want? And I know you looked at the LWRP, the Local Waterfront Revitalization Project, and I know Nick Zachary here, who is on that. And we had a very, 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 very small percentage of Buchanan residents. Most of them were from the town of Cortland. So Nick would know about how many people responded. So we did talk about that at the last board meeting, that we would put a survey out to ask the residents what they're looking for. I did do the walkthrough with Chris. We did go through that to the back of the sewer treatment plant. They did show us where the 3 acres would be from the back of the tanks, 3 acres to your property. That's another thing I'm really not interested in letting someone else purchase that property. But like I said, I'm one vote, so, if we do with your project, if we do get 1,000 more people, including cumulative effect, most likely, and I know you said you do the studies, and you would do studies, the Village of Buchanan would do studies. Who does the studies, Dave, for traffic, for impacts, everything?
So, for the record, Dave Smith, planning consultant to the Village of Buchanan. So the applicant will have their own traffic engineer,
Correct.
and they will prepare their, as an example, the village will retain and as already retained their own third-party independent traffic consultant. That's Phil Greeley from Colliers. So he will review this on behalf of the village. So that's an example of how. Yeah, of course, George would be reviewing engineering. If there's any specialty,
Like for services, like if we need more police, would that be looked at if we need more services?
well, if you need, with respect to the services, they're going to do some evaluation, just like what happened with AMS. They'll bring that information back to your police department. That'll be reviewed, and you'll have to discuss that with the police department relative to staffing calls to service.
So here's my concerns. If we need 3 new police officers with 1,000 more people, you're looking at 600,000. So I'm not sure where the benefit is by doing this project financially. We haven't heard from you what the estimate would be. Marcus has told us for AMS, it's 300,000. You've told us 600,000. I'm hearing 2 different things. Is it 300,000 tax benefit for AMS? Oh, okay. All right. I'm sorry. I misunderstood. So your tax benefit, you've looked at that? I'm just curious. I'm just asking.
No, we haven't looked at it.
Okay. All right.
Because,
Just asking.
because you have to start the
Okay.
process. That's all we're saying tonight. We will look at it, but you got to start the process.
And let me ask the attorney, if we start the process, we accept their application.
Yep.
So now it starts. There's no stopping it at that point.
I don't know what no stopping it means.
It wouldn't be a process if it couldn't have the ability to stop.
Yeah.
Correct?
Like at some point in the future or right away?
Well, no, we would have to, if they do all their calculations and everything, and then there was, I don't know, they're saying there's no negative impact. They're saying, just like when we had the AMS project, when they did the traffic study, they were saying there's no negative impact on the traffic.
Just as
I
our
just-
traffic, Phil Greeley at the time
Mhm.
also provided his recommendations.
Correct.
And we based our decisions on Phil Greeley's expertise and his report that he reported back to this. board.
You'll have studies from both. It's not
Right.
just
Correct.
them.
Okay. But once the process starts, it's emotion. It's emotion.
And at any time, if Phil Greeley or any other expert says, you know what they've said is incorrect, there is a significant impact. At that point in time,
We can stop.
we could stop.
Okay, so my biggest concern is 1,000 more people here in the village. We have really fast tracked doing apartments. And like I've said, there'll be over 424 apartments after your project. That's a lot of impact for a small 1.3 square mile village to absorb. It's a lot. And you know what? Last time we looked at money, this time I'm not looking at money. I'm looking at quality of life. I'm looking at the village, the community we have. Most of the people that are moving in here are from Brooklyn, Queens, all over. And I asked them, why do you come here? Because this is so nice here. It's quiet. It's beautiful. There's not a lot of people. So to me, this would hurt more of our character of our village. And I know you're not happy with what I'm saying, but I have to tell you how I feel. And I just think this will not be a positive thing for the village. And then not only that, the effects on the EMS. AMS is 55 plus. So, and Chris was involved with the AMS. We have the other 51 units. So we just have a lot of change here quickly. And yeah, I just want to be very, it's not, nothing personal here. It's just what my thoughts are for the village. Okay, I just, so I have grave concerns about this project. And I just feel strongly it's not in the best interest of the village. I think having over 400 more apartments so quickly is not a positive thing for us. I mentioned the Lens Cove. I'm sure the DEC and the EPA, if this goes forward, if the board decides, I'm sure they would be involved in the dump over there and everything. So who would be liable for that? So if there's a land swap, if there's contaminants that are found there and you're doing the parking lot, who'd end up being liable for that? Would the village of Buchanan be in the loop?
I'm honestly, I don't understand what you're referring to as a land swap or right, but
Well, you're saying that you want to buy, and we don't even know what the price is yet, 3 acres of village property. But in lieu of that, there's going to be the parking lot done and a restaurant.
so okay, there we go.
Go ahead.
So I'm just, as far as Lens Cove, the village owns that property. So if there's any environmental contamination, I think it would be, you own it. So it's already the village's responsibility. We're not talking about swapping land with respect to Lens Cove. So if there was some landfill issues, I mean, they exist today, they'll exist tomorrow. If this project happens or not, if there are liability issues there, they're there right now. We're not going to change anything about that. And we're not proposing any land swap with respect to Lens Cove. We're proposing making improvements, which we want to talk about once you're done.
So,
But I don't think there's any change of liability. Like, the village owns that property today and will in the future.
all right, might be a Pandora box.
Well, if there's liability,
Right.
it exists
It's
today.
still a
Like,
village
it's
property.
there, right?
So you're looking to purchase the 3 acres behind the sewer treatment plant?
Yes, we're exploring that. Yes, that's part of our proposal.
Okay, and if you purchase that, has there been any appraisal done on that at all? Or?
No, and if I could at this point, like, my name is Patrick Normoyle. I'm with the applicant. So again, good evening, Mayor.
I've seen you before, yes.
Yeah,
but
I
thank
know.
you.
For other
Yes.
people, and good evening to the board. So just to start off, like, our hope here is to work with the village to do something that is unquestionably positive for the village. So there's a few ways that can take shape, and we'd like to work with the village board to do what you want done. So a few ideas that occurred to us is, number one, if there is a private development at this site, it could be, and we expect would be, tax positive for the village. Number two, an idea that came up during the past year was, we have the development site on 501 Broadway looking across the street. Lens Cove Park, I think, is a beautiful location. It's a great park, but obviously there has been little that the village could do in terms of positive improvements. That occurred to us during the past year. Could we, on behalf of the village, basically make improvements to the park, whether that's waterfront trail, expanding the trail, and or possibly creating a waterfront restaurant? We don't have to do that. That was an idea that we thought might be of interest to the village. So my son graduated from high school on Saturday. My other son graduated from 8th grade yesterday. If I lived in Buchanan and that happened, and there was a waterfront restaurant at Lens Cove Park, guess where I'd want to go for the graduation dinner? So that's the kind of idea we're talking about. Can we do something that adds to how great a village Buchanan already is? We don't want to do, and we can't do anything that the village doesn't want. So our whole pitch is we'd like to work with the village board to create what you want. Another thing that just came up, we visited the wastewater facility twice with George Palmer. We know there are issues there. We think, working with George, we could come up with some innovative and cost-effective ways to improve that facility, whether that's on our dime or we're just lending our expertise. That's another area where I think we could work with the village board to do something that basically helps the whole village. So that's why we're here. We're not here to ruin the character of your village. We're here to hopefully do something that adds to the village. An improved Lens Cove Park with a restaurant, with new waterfront trails. Like, you're the ones who live here. You're the ones who could benefit from that. And again, it's a fantastic location right now, but if you go, you know, it's a little, let's say, run down. You don't even have restrooms that work. That was another thing we heard from you or from somebody at the village. Wouldn't it be nice to have restroom facilities here so people using the park like don't have to, I guess, drive to the diner to like find a bathroom. They could actually just stay there. So that's our intent. We're here hoping that we could work in partnership with the village to create a beautiful project on our side of the road, but also do some great improvements on your property. And again, anything we do, we would do in partnership with you. We'd have to do in partnership with you. We're not wedded to anything. And back to what David's saying, we're at the very start of this process. So all of the concerns you raised, Mayor, are very valid, legitimate, but we haven't studied any of them yet. We're at the very start. So we want to start that process. We want to look at the things that you're concerned about and then bring back the data to you. And then it's really your decision whether or not this has a positive impact on the community or negative. And that's going to be your decision. That's going to be based on the record, as David was saying, and that's what we're here for tonight, just to start this process. Again, one other thing I will share is, with David, we've done a project in Pelham, we've done a project in Briarcliff Manor. In every instance, it was the village board who was the lead agency and the lead approval agency. The only board that had a say in those two projects was the village board of trustees. So when it's an important project, like, it kind of makes sense to have the people who are elected by the community making those decisions. So I think it's perfectly appropriate for your board to be in charge, and your zoning as it exists now gives you that authority to make those decisions. So it's not unusual. In fact, it's probably pretty common.
I just don't want to see a repeat of the AMS project. The traffic study, I know there was a study done, but I think it was a joke. I don't agree with it. Yes, these people are experts, but to have almost 300 cars more on 9A and there's minimal effect, I find that hard to believe, but we're gonna see what happens. Also, I know the board, so has been asking another industry for infrastructure payments, money to do different infrastructure here in the village. So if the board decides this is going forward, I mean, would it be nice to have a restaurant there? Would it be nice to have the property done over? Absolutely. Absolutely. We've never done that because we never had the money.
Yeah.
I mean, when George turns around and says it's $1 million, well, that's a no-go. We don't have $1 million to do something like that. But, I just want to put it out there. I want to be upfront. I want to be straightforward. You know what?
Yeah. And if I could, you bring up actually a good point. So with this project, given how it's construed right now, like, we would make about $1 million in building permit fee payments to the village. During this process, another thing we could explore, there are impact fees that are often associated with these developments. That would be something we'd be interested in working with the village to create, other financial payments that we could make to the village that would help, obviously deal with the potential tax issues that you're dealing with. So again, we're open to being creative in terms of ways that it can work financially for the village, as well as create a great project and great public improvements on your property. So we're very open to working with the village. We're at the start. Again, we're committed to nothing. We're committed to creating a great project with you, but we're not committed to any specific outcome. So again, we'd welcome the chance to work with you. We think we could do something great. And again, we hope we have the chance to, do something great with you guys.
So a year ago, you came and did a presentation, just a presentation,
Yes.
and then you were gone for a year.
Yeah.
And then, what was it, May, you came back.
Yes.
So have you been working on this project, doing anything in that year's time?
I mean, we developed our thoughts, and that's why when we came back, we had ideas for Lens Cove park improvements and the restaurant. But as I mentioned last month, it's been a challenging time for development in terms of, interest rates being high, costs increasing, and then obviously more recently, the war with Iraq. There's just been a lot of uncertainty with respect to real estate development. So that's not uncommon. I think in many places, development has slowed down pretty significantly given all of these uncertainties, and we were no different. Like, things were uncertain. Again, we're not immune to that, nor is, other communities. Many other places, building permits, like, had historic drops, just given the lack of activity, given the uncertainty in the market, given the high interest rates, given the rising costs. So it's just, I think, the nature of what was happening in the past year.
So in that year's time, have you been working with any of our staff, any of our consultants?
No, I think
There's
more.
been no conversations at all for you?
No, we were exploring options with potential partners in terms of trying to make this project happen sooner. And that's where some of these ideas about doing improvements to Lens Cove Park, creating a restaurant, that came from those discussions. So we were trying to, put together our team to make this happen sooner rather than later. But no, we had no contact with staff until fairly recently, where we, remobilized. We hired David again, maybe it was April, and then we started working on it again, I'd say back in April.
So no village staff, you had no discussions?
No, I mean, at some point during the last year, in May and June of last year, we were in front of the board, but then again, for other reasons, we weren't advancing the plans as quick as we could, just given the uncertainty in the market, even uncertainty for real estate development.
All right. Does the board have any questions or comments? I think I have my comments covered.
So,
Are you guys completed with
ahead.
your,
not, that's what I was
are you
gonna
guys
ask.
all finished?
I mean,
No.
like, the only thing we'd ask is that the board on the 7th, I know there's a draft resolution that Dave drafted, consider that. We're here tonight to answer any questions about that. I think David's not going to be here on the 7th, so it's a good opportunity now if there are questions about that resolution, but
If I could just
okay.
No, just add, just as far as some of the issues the mayor brought up. So, we have hired our traffic engineer, and we did do traffic counts. We had the traffic engineer reach out to Phil Greeley, and we added, versus our original proposal, we added about 8 or 9 additional intersections per Phil Greeley's recommendation, because he wanted us to evaluate more intersections. So we did that. Right now, we're doing the socioeconomic impact studies. We're looking at the school student generation. So we're doing all those supplemental studies are underway right now, which we hope to have done in the next month or so. So whether, you have a meeting in early August, hopefully we can have most of those studies submitted prior to your August meeting, but all of that work is underway. So again, all of the issues the mayor noted, we're studying right now based on this proposal. And we will have those, those studies for your review, I'd say by the beginning of August. So that's what we're doing on our side. As David mentioned, we'd love to move forward with the first step of the secret process, where your village board can declare yourselves your intent to be lead agency. We'd love that to happen July 7th, so we can start the process. But again, once the process starts, there's going to be lots of information coming from us to you, being reviewed by your consultants, and then we have to respond to that, and at the end of the day you'll have a complete record, and once you have a complete record, it's your decision on whether or not you think this is a good thing for the village or not.
So the last time you presented, I brought up some of the comments that I had received from the public.
Yep.
That they were concerned about, the overcrowding in schools, the traffic, etc. And you shared that there will be studies made, and that data will be presented to us.
Yes.
It is understood that right now what you want to do is bring a project to us. It doesn't mean we're committed to it. It doesn't mean that if you bring the data and there are things there that we're not comfortable with, that we can't say we're stopping this. This is not a good thing for our village. Am I correct?
That's 100% correct.
Okay. Now, David, I know there has to be a process that has to take place in order for the project to begin. Would you be able to explain that to us?
So as David had mentioned, the petition has been submitted to the village board. Under New York State village law, the village board is the only entity that can amend the zoning code or the zoning map for the village. So as part of that process, you need to go through the State Environmental Quality Review Act, the SEQR review process. And it starts with you submit the petition, you review it. Our office has reviewed their petition. We've asked them to add some additional information just to get the process started. So that notice of intent to act as lead agency lets all of the other potential interested or involved agencies like Westchester County, we've included like the city of Peekskill, the town of Cortland, New York State DEC will be included on that list. So that notice goes out with the environmental assessment form. It would go out with a conceptual plan and some other basic information. And that allows the entities to, after a certain length of time, to come back to the village and say either we want to be lead agency or we do not object to the village acting as lead agency. So once that happens, as part of your special permit review process, there are a number of studies that need to be prepared in order for you to consider the special permit. And that includes things like traffic. We've talked about the fiscal analysis. There will need to be a study on utilities and the impact of the project on utilities, stormwater management. So all of those reports are compiled as part of an expanded environmental assessment form. So that document is submitted to you. It's reviewed by you. The staff will review it. And you may say, you know what, we need to have some additional information to respond to certain issues, whatever they may be. And the applicant would go back. They would revise the expanded environmental assessment form and those reports, resubmit that. At some point in time, you will have a comfort level that there's enough information for the public, not only for you, but also for the public to understand what the project is, what the impacts are, and what the proposed mitigation is being provided by the applicant. So at that point in time, you would schedule a public hearing. Public hearing is required for the proposed rezoning. So you would go through that process. Public would come out. That's their opportunity to review and to provide you with feedback on the process. Typically, the applicant will then go back and they'll prepare responses to all those comments. And they'll submit those. Those will be reviewed. And then you'll have to evaluate before you make an environmental determination against the list of criteria in the environmental assessment forms. Part 2 of the environmental assessment form, Part 1 is filled out by the applicant. Part 2 is your responsibility. And so you would look at, there's a list of 18 different environmental impact areas that you would have to evaluate. And it includes all the things, it includes traffic, water, sewer, impacts to schools, impact to the natural environment. So you will evaluate that, and at some point you will make an environmental determination. But essentially what the applicant is doing is providing you with the information, and you're asking your own staff and consultants to supplement that information so that you have a full range of the information you need in order to make an informed decision. So at this point, we're at the very start of the process. We don't have all the facts and the information that you need in order to make a decision.
Right now, we can't say it's going to cause this issue or that issue because we don't have the data in front of us.
That's right.
Thank you.
So with the studies, Dave, you had mentioned for the police, there's no outside agency that does studies. You would go to the police department and ask them what their requirement is for manpower.
You could, well, I would assume that the applicant will, much like with AMS, they would reach out to other communities and their police departments and find out what costs of service are, and if like a project like this,
Comparables.
and comparables.
Well, if this goes forward, I would like a study that was done in the 70s, what our manpower is here from the DOJ, Department of Justice in New York State. I would like to actually have someone who's experienced in that in the state to come in and look at that.
In the
From the
70s?
70s?
Well, that's how old that report is. That's how old the report. I think it's time to update it. Possibly. Yeah, it's time to update it. And then also the EMS services. Is there any studies that are done on that?
Well, typically for a facility like this, you're not going to get a whole lot of calls to service. If this was an assisted living facility or some type of a senior facility where, and this has happened in, for instance, in the town of Somers, where they have an assisted living facility, and they have I forget what the exact term is, but if somebody falls, no lift policy, right? Where the staff is not allowed to lift a resident, so they have to call
The fire
EMS.
department.
But this is not that type of project. This is something completely different.
But what I'm concerned about, and I think the point is being missed, is the cumulative effect
Yeah.
of 400 and something apartments. That's, so this is a separate project. I
Yep.
get that.
Yep.
But it's a cumulative effect after a while.
And David, correct me if I'm wrong, though, all of these studies will incorporate the other projects
Yes.
or other.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
I was-
in your experience,
Yeah.
and I'm assuming you've dealt with a lot of projects, have you encountered at any point a huge issue with some development? Have you learned of anything
Well,
with all
It-
these impacts?
it depends on the project.
Okay.
Right, and depends on the location. I mean, I've worked on projects that have been right underneath the flight path to Westchester County Airport.
Oh.
I've gotten approvals for a multifamily project that's directly adjacent to the Metro North train lines, the electrified version going up to Stamford and New Haven. So it all depends on the particular project, and we haven't even begun to assess what impacts they may have here.
Thank you.
What I want to also mention to you, the EAF, I took a very quick look at that. There was a proposed development there years ago, but that was a lot less units. There was, it's environmentally sensitive for frogs and bats. There's some type of an extinct something species over there.
Oh.
So I did not see that in your form.
Well, David can certainly go through and verify whether or not the DEC mapper is missing something, but obviously that's what we use.
We could do that.
So David, when is the point of no return? Basically, so how far do we get to the process where we're really,
So
no going back?
I'm not a lawyer, and I don't even pretend to play one on TV. But it's my understanding, this is a completely discretionary action by your board. So that at some point in the future, if you say, you know what, this is not working, this is not going to work for us, you could just say, that's it, we're discontinuing the application. So
Even after they've invested substantial money.
That's their risk.
that's their risk.
Right.
That's the
The
risk.
legislative determination in the first instance, which is discretionary determination.
Right. So Bob, the point of no return is when you say, okay, we're satisfied with all of the reports prepared and we're going to issue a negative declaration, and you adopt the zoning.
And this is after
Well-
multiple
well,
public hearings.
Yeah, and the only thing I would add to that is that's the point of no return for the rezoning of the site. But remember, then we still need a special
Site plan.
permanent site plan.
Yeah.
Right.
It's not as if you get through with secret and that's it. We're still back before you with the actual site plan, et cetera.
The site plan and the special permit.
Right, the special permit.
Yeah.
So,
And the site plan would be before the planning board.
No, in
No.
this case, the
For
way the
recommendation.
code is written, right, you do the site plan and the special permit, but you refer
Correct.
the site plan to the planning board, just like you did with AMS, and they did a thorough review and then reported back to you
Correct.
on their comments.
And if they have any concerns, that should come back to us, correct?
Yes, the planning board is well, they're an involved agency to the extent that they have to go through the subdivision and merge the lots.
right.
But essentially they're advisory to your board, and you're going to provide them with the expanded environmental assessment form and provide them with an opportunity to comment and provide comments to you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So for everyone, I know you mentioned it, the proposed acquisition of approximately 3.12 acres, currently land owned by the village. Proposed rezoning of the project site from an M1 to a C1, C2 overlay is exactly what we have on the 9A corridor. Application to the village board for the granting of required special permit to allow for proposed residential community. Application to the village board for site plan approval with referral, like they just said, which I really think the whole thing should go in front of the planning board. And yes, I get it. It's in the code. And then as part of a community benefit agreement or land disposition agreement, that's what I was saying, you know, is it a land swap? I wasn't, proposed improvements to Lents Cove, including trail expansion and connectivity improvements and creation of a waterfront dining experience, the proposed public improvements. Anybody else? Any other questions, comments from the board?
I'll say what I'm feeling here right now. For the last month, I've been talking to people in the village. Everyone knows I know a lot of people in the village. I'm getting a 50-50 feeling, a 50-50 vibe on this. And I myself, I'm on the fence. I really am. I see where you're coming from. I see what the village needs. I do think that we took on a lot with the AMS project. I do remember conversations with the fire services and the police department. They're already asking for more stuff, more personnel. And basically, you know, we were saying then, let's wait and see how AMS pans out. So right now, to be honest with you, I'm on the fence. If I were to make a decision tonight, I don't think it would be a good one for you, to be quite frank with you. I mean, I'm doing my best. I'm struggling with this decision myself. That's why I want to be sure that we're not locked in tonight, whatever we do, or Tuesday night, next meeting, whatever it is, what we do, we have the opportunity to, you know, things come across us, we can say how we feel and what we really want to do. If I were asked tonight how I felt about it, I would probably be a no. Only because I want to be fair with you guys. It's nothing against you. I've talked to people for years about what I thought would be a good idea down that area. But AMS wasn't here at the time. You know, we have a lot going on in the village. It's a small village with a lot going on with planning boards that, you know, I don't even know if they're trained, to be honest with you.
Well,
I don't know if they have their training.
Yeah, I mean, what we would say is, Trustee Wheeler, is thank you for your honesty. Let us start the process and get you that information so you can make an informed
I'm a
decision.
little more comfortable now that
Right.
you've explained it to me a little bit better.
And the only,
So I'm not making any predetermined decisions on anything right now, except the fact that I keep feeling that I go back to like, we were on a wait and see how this all pans out with AMS. And there's a lot. We're gonna have AMS just finishing up and you guys just starting. And we're gonna have a cycle of 7 years, 6 years, whatever it might take for all this to come out to fruition to see where it's gonna affect us. You know, and we're talking about some of the fire services. Volunteers are tough to come by. They're big buildings. We did a tour of AMS. It's a massive building. I'll tell you right now, we were there with the 3 local departments and they were all kind of, you know, wow, this is not quite what we thought it was going to be. It's massive. So it's a concern of mine on that end. And we're also dealing with the fire district down there on Burr Plank and the Burr Plank Fire District in Lents Cove. It's not Buchanan. So but
Good point.
like I said, I'm willing to hear it out and I can make my decision at a later date if I have to. But right now, I just want to be honest with you how I'm feeling.
appreciate it.
And I am on the fence as well. I'm on the fence till I get all the data that you're going to present to me, because that's what you're obligated to do. I went through this with AMS, me and Laker, Teresa was here. We went through this process. We went through it as lead agency. All of the data was presented to us thoroughly, the way it was supposed to be presented. We all went through it with all of our we hired, you know, our DOT specialist and everything else. We went through all of it, went through with the school. There was some data brought back to us from emergency services. And I do think that is an important part of this. There's been a lot of criticism lately in the area about, you know, the strain that it may put on our emergency services, as well as our infrastructure. So that's something that I'm being looking forward to with data. And I'm hoping that, you know, I'm willing to hear you out. I want to hear it out. I want to see this through. You have the right to come to us with it, and we have the obligation to hear it and make the right decision. And that's for the public. There will be multiple public hearings, which on everything, even the you know, with the code amendment to the code, the site plan, everything, there's going to be public hearings for. So there's a lot in front of us, and we really will have plenty of time to make the right decision, and I'm confident that we will.
And if I got loud, it's because I'm extremely concerned and I'm very passionate about the village. So I'm very concerned. The change has been huge. So, and I'm speaking to a lot of people every day. They're very upset. They really don't want to see that much more change. And as Bob had said, he is correct. We'd like to see how that all pans out, the 200 apartments that we're going to have. Now 11 townhouses, perhaps. So it's big change for 2,300. Our 2020 census was 2,300 people. We know there's more, but it was 2,300 people. And then to add, another 1,000, that's a big change.
We hear you, Mayor, and we look forward to more passionate discussions. Hopefully we can.
You will
we
get
can
that from me.
visit- Oh, I know. Look forward
I
to
will
it.
guarantee
Hopefully the data that we present will help out, but we look forward to further conversations.
We are all passionate.
Oh, no.
And we all
Yeah.
care
Stick it
about
over.
Yes. Yeah.
We all do.
Is there, while you're here, maybe there's I know it's not a public hearing, maybe a few people have questions. Oh, 2 people.
Are you going
Okay.
to hold it to the 3 minutes?
Yes, ma'am, I will do that. That is what is in the code.
I can do it.
Thank you, Anthony.
Sure.
Sal, do you want to, just a quick, if is there any questions that we might not have covered? Okay. Okay, come on up.
Please come
Come
to
on
the
up.
podium.
This got all mixed in with.
My name is Sal Tavano. I'm a lifelong resident of Buchanan, living at.
You're going to have to speak up, Sal,
Seven-
because our speakers aren't unfortunately not working, our microphones.
Okay. I'm Sal Tavano, lifelong resident, and I currently reside at 167 Lindsay Avenue. First, I'd like to thank, all the board members and all the supporting people for their investment of time and effort to serve Buchanan. I'm here today to express my concerns. They've already come out by various board members, which I do appreciate, regarding the speed, size, and impact of current and proposed commercial development. I believe many of our citizens present here today and absent, have those same concerns as I've heard from neighbors. And these concerns include the incremental costs of additional facilities, improvements, future repair and maintenance of infrastructure, police, fire, etc. In addition, I think there's concern about our sewer treatment plant. I don't know what impact future development may have on that plant, but I'm sure none of us would want to have our flushes rationed daily. So I think that's a valid concern. Of course, certainty of extreme traffic, which has already occurred. And that goes on to feeder and side roads, even now from the 9A corridor that runs through Buchanan. Okay, so, there are certainly delays. You've got the high school there. The development, I'm not sure if it's Carbone, across from the church, St. Christopher's Church. And I was particularly dismayed to see a sign there that in front of the property where they were soliciting a drive-through platform. And I can't imagine how we could actually have that in that particular area, considering school, church, the congestion we have already. Limited sight distance from the current development where Dunkin' Donuts and I don't know what that building is called, Nona's and others. Sometimes I wonder if that's an accident waiting to happen, even though it's something that, was developed and approved by, certainly competent people, but appears to me to be an oversight. Then there's less tangible issues of concern that include the degradation of the local environment and the very character of the village. I'll give you a couple of points, you mentioned 1,000 people. I was figuring it'd be 800 at least, but 1,000 people. So I figure if we're gonna have 1,000 more residents, then we're gonna have 1,000 more cars. And, we're gonna change the character of the village in a way that we're gonna have new residents in apartment complexes. And historically, when this occurs, these residents are disengaged from the community.
Sal, if you could finish up.
I'm sorry?
Anthony told me it's 3 minutes. So if you could
So,
just wrap up.
I need to know that in advance so I can time it.
Well, we did.
So, all right.
Yep.
I apologize if.
Thank you. I guess there's going to be many more meetings on this. Yeah.
All right, well, I know there'll be environmental impact studies and traffic studies and so forth. But of course, it requires due diligence and third-party scrutiny on all of this information, not just data that's submitted. I've seen reports from nonprofit organizations called NCA and Science Direct that are reputable reporting and publishing entities in the area of, environmental impact and studies.
Sal, I'm
And
sorry.
they say that
3 minutes are up.
those studies are highly subject to bias because naturally the firms, the engineers, those firms, the attorneys, are paid directly by the developers. Doesn't mean they're not, reputable or talented in their field, but, they're requires additional scrutiny that I would expect from all of the boards as things progress. And to Bob's point about, getting to the point of no return, I mean, that's a concern to me. I think everything needs to go slow at this point where we are in the village to, for example, avoid a litigation.
Sal, you
Yeah.
have to respect the time because there are other people who want to speak. But like the mayor said, there'll be more meetings.
Okay.
Thank you
Well,
for your words. Thank
all
you.
right. Well, thank
Good
you.
points,
Thank
Sal.
you for
Some
your
good
time.
points.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, one thing is this series
Sal.
of projects.
Sal,
I'm
can we
leaving,
mute the
I'm
mic?
leaving. These projects.
Ta-da,
Development activity that the Village of Buchanan has seen.
Is there anyone who wants to
Yeah.
speak?
54.
Oh,
Come,
oh, that's
Dr.
right.
Perry.
And Con Edison came in. Yes, sir.
come to the mic.
Hello.
Hi.
Joe Ryan, I've been here for 69. I thought I'd be here 3 years and I'm still here, so you're stuck with me. This is not, thank you you guys are proof that no good deed goes unpunished, okay? And thank you for being here, ladies and gentlemen. I'm just doing the philosophical point. We have a housing crisis in America. One of the problems, and I wouldn't want to be in your business, is that we've got a ton of regulations and a ton of things, and we have to have a lawyer for everything we do. Now, my father was district attorney, so I'm not against lawyers, okay? And I did get accepted all the way to law school. I didn't go. But anyway, that being said, how much time, Teresa? Bottom line.
I'm not going to be able to tell Mr. Ryan.
No, you'll be good. Okay, bottom line, we need affordable housing. About 15% of our teachers are probably going to be gone. And when I came here, I rented a walkout basement apartment in an 18 Harper Avenue, right down from Joey. Anyway, but that's a whole story. And I went through sticker shock, okay, for what I had to pay for that, right? So the point is, in your judgments, realize that it's very hard to do what they do. Yeah, they're making the buck. Well, that's what we're in a capitalistic state. If you want to read about a social state failing, read Lenin's Tomb. There'll be a test on that. Okay, 2 more minutes, not even 1 more minute. Thank you for doing what you do.
Thank you.
And I know there's going to be a lot of meat. Maybe Teresa, you could sell 1,000 ice cream cones, but that's just a sidebar joke.
Not even the.
I know you're
the
not.
Thing. Yeah.
Wasn't once,
And I'm
Rocky, but-
against it.
I know that. But bottom line, you're not stupid. Just like justice is not blind, as my father said, but she's blind, but she's not stupid. And you don't park your brains at the door when you sit in a jury. All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for doing your work and keep it up. You kind of know what the town needs. And we we could be part of the solution to the problem of the housing situation in America. And we do have a community responsibility. On that note, thank you very much. And if you don't have anything to do this Thursday night down at the waterfront, we're going to have the Army band down there. We're also going to have a guy in uniform and muskets going off and kind of things like
Wonder who
that.
that's going to be.
I wonder who's in drag that time, right?
Ooh.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Now I got to go home and get my nap, okay?
So, Mr. Ryan, I just
you.
want to tell you, there's no affordable, this is not going to be affordable. It's all market rate.
I mean, we're going to have young teachers coming down looking for places to live.
Right.
We're going to have our own staff here retired. I ran over the minutes. I'm going to get.
No, you actually have
$3,000 for
30
one
left.
bedroom. Yes, sir. Thank you. Nice
Thank
seeing
you.
Take care. Yes, anybody, please come up. 3 minutes. Otherwise, I'll get yelled at.
Absolutely, because you set the rules.
Well, we all approved. Yes,
My
sir.
name is
And I'm for it.
John Yanofsky. I guess I would be one of the described newer residents of town. I've been here 4 years. Moved up from down county, and I would probably be described as a development hawk, if you will. We have a serious issue in this school district with the tax situation that we've gone up over 10% since I've lived here, and it's not going to go down. It's only going to keep going up in a compounding way. And it's incumbent upon the tri-village governments to figure out how are we going to be replacing the tax revenue that was lost from the power plant. Nobody's fault that the power plant's gone, but it is the responsibility of this elected government to become part of the solution for fixing that so that we all don't get priced out of our homes because the property taxes are so high. And obviously, as something gets developed, the revenue to the town and the tax implications have to be, in my opinion, the number one thing that we're looking at is how are we going to generate more revenue for this community so that the schools can continue to thrive and we can all afford to continue to live here, because it's only going to get exponentially more expensive. And there's very little sales tax. There's very little commercial business in this town. And, if we don't fully optimize all of the commercial real estate that we have, if we don't sell vacant land that's sitting there dormant, then, we're doing a major disservice to this community.
Thank you so much.
We want to make sure, though, that this is positive. It's positive,
It is positive.
dollar positive. I guess you've already
Let's
made
be
a decision.
The
So
opinion of the
anyhow,
public,
I
please.
just wanted to say to you,
Why do you-
there was a press release today, a press conference with the school and with the town. There has been a cessation. The cessation fund has passed in both houses to allow for another 5 years. So
If the governor
cessation
signs
fund-
it.
If I didn't finish, yes.
Okay, just
If the
put it out.
governor signs it, so that would be a good thing. It would give us a little breathing room for 5 years.
And then after that, what
And
happens?
then after that, then we have 5 years to look at.
No, we need
We
to
have
plan
time to take a look at it instead of developers coming in here with their projects and without having the village residents have their input before.
Well, you
I
put
want to
this
do a
before,
survey.
and I think you need
I
to
want to
let
do
the
a
public speak,
survey.
Teresa.
Once again, I want to do a survey so I can
All right.
see what the residents want.
So get a good one going.
So
but right
yes,
now
sir,
you
can we
should
have
address
another comment from the audience?
Instead
Thank
of
you.
sending out that letter you sent out, you should have sent out a survey.
all the
I
petition,
sent out a letter which
the
cost me
petition.
quite a bit of money.
but nobody
What
asked
it
you to
took.
do that.
I didn't
Because-
ask anybody about that.
Yeah.
I feel that strong about the development, the out of control development here,
Out of
the
control.
massive amount of people. Well, 424 apartments is extremely a lot of apartments. Okay, so
You should have sent out the survey.
so
Yeah.
I could still send it out, but
And you should have
anyhow,
done it first.
but I sent that letter out because when we had the AMS development, a lot of residents in the village did not know what was going on.
That you
And I
voted for.
wanted to inform everyone that this was happening. So I didn't hear later on that, oh no, we didn't know about it.
All right,
Not
but
only
now
that,
can
when
we
the
allow public
development,
to
excuse
speak?
me, I'm speaking.
Yeah, but
Not
you-
only that, when the development
responsible.
happened, we had a resident that came here and said, oh, there's no thing up there, a planning board announcement or any announcement that that development was happening. So
All right,
the
Eric.
door opened and I spoke. Eric, you can
Eric,
go
have
ahead. Thank
3
you.
minutes.
Thank you. So this is directed toward the developer real quick. If I could ask a question. Mr. Cooper, good to see you again.
Speak up, Eric.
Sorry, my voice is a
That's
little bad. So my question here real quickly is, have you actually put boots on your feet and walked those woods? Do you realize you're backed up to a place that has over 150 different types of chlorine gases, and if they let loose, things go badly? Do you realize there's a garbage place
The
back
gases?
Chlorine. Chlorine is for the treatment plant.
Oh, I know what it's for.
Yeah, so you have,
I just didn't hear what you said.
sorry, multiple 150-pound cylinders that they're not capable of handling here. That's a hazmat team. You got a garbage company back there that operates at 4:30 in the morning, and you're going to build back there, and you've done all this. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, no, but also, hold on. One more question to this, though. Have you actually got geography of the area of all the contaminants that may be along that stream bed? You had Standard Brands, you had Moral Corporation, multiple stuff going in there. So now you're infringing on wetlands where you may be kicking up Pandora's box. Who's going to be responsible for that? I mean, I would seriously employ this board to make them, before they take anything, get an EPA phase 1 clearance on properties before you decide to even entertain this deal. Anybody born and raised here knows, always been told, contaminants. It's been proven. You got a garbage place there. It's been in business for how long? I'm not talking about AAA carting. I'm talking about the incinerating plant. What's coming out of that place? What's been in the overlays from the place?
We haven't
Battery
had
plates.
anything from the incinerator plant put into our dump.
Right. So these are the questions that are legitimately here that, unless you can answer, as a board, I wouldn't accept this. I'd want some preliminary data before I even gave you the chance to give me any type of submission. That's just me. And I might
Give a minute.
One more question. This is to the lawyer. If I can ask you a question, ma'am. So they're not a trained board to be lead agency, and they make a decision that is catastrophic. Are they liable, or is the village liable for their decision making?
You're not.
So they're not trained. So if they're making,
So
let me
serious.
phrase the question.
Yeah.
They are making life safety decisions with no background in that area, and something fatal happens. Who's liable for those decision
30
making?
seconds.
Same as the planning board.
Yeah, and they have consultant who will help them with their decisions.
If
Is
it,
that what you're saying?
no, if something happens, for example, you have a fatal fire in a new building, something goes wrong there.
What?
A lawyer comes in and wants to sue. Is the village liable for a lawsuit because they made the decisions based on that building?
Engineers and consultants.
Yeah.
Basically,
That's under the fire
what they
code.
say.
Fire code, whatever the fire safety would need to be, would be on the developer, but we would make sure that that was happening.
Okay, well, not just a question, because there's a lot of liability still there, regardless of how you look at it.
There are liabilities everywhere. We can have liabilities in our own home for those
Sure.
that rent apartments, for those that have tenants.
Sure.
Same liability.
Right, only it's a little different because you have rental insurance.
Maybe on a smaller scale, but it's the same thing.
It's a lot safer.
Okay.
It's just what, and well, let's,
3 minutes are up.
3 minutes.
your emergency services are not capable of this. That's a fact.
We don't know that.
I do.
I haven't
Show me
seen
the
data.
Eric.
Thank you.
No problem. I'll get it for you.
Show it to me.
Go
Yeah,
ahead.
no, don't chat GPT it. Show it to me.
When
I'll get it to you. Don't worry.
Yeah,
we have our engineer here.
taking
I
liability.
know there was a question about the sewer treatment plant and and George, would you there was a question if our sewer treatment plant was capable of accepting more. And George has been working on, the upgrade of the plant. So George, if you could just, the amount of gallonage that is.
Speak up so they
Is potential.
Yeah, that
for
doesn't work.
Yeah, you got a very.
No. Voice, George.
George Palmer, Han Engineering for the record. Our sewage treatment plant currently runs at about 250,000 gallons a day. Our permit limit is 500,000 a day. So we are running at basically half capacity right now. We do have some I&I that comes and goes from month to month, but we're essentially running at 50%. And we have given, through an IMA, 100,000 gallons to the Cortland, town of Cortland. So that would bring us to 350. So this development, once we see their numbers, we'll review them. We'll look at our available capacity and what's remaining. We also have a permit that's being upgraded from 500,000 to 750. So, so we'll address that at the right time, but AMS added 23,000. If this is double that, that's 50. Just round ballpark numbers. Capacity is likely there. So it's not.
So we're still way below the 750, which would put us around 550,000.
Yes.
If we
Correct.
go up to the 750.
Yes.
Because then we have to worry sometimes heavy rainfall with the INI.
Yeah, the INI, we addressed a lot of it with the sewer lining projects that we did for the past 5 years as part of our consent. So we've managed that. It's still there though. There's a small percentage, but I think we're in a good condition.
Yeah, just wanted to address that. That was mentioned.
One thing I just wanted to address, there was some reference to a letter that went out about the project.
Yes,
Can we please get a copy of that?
right
What-
here. It's all factual and information
Just,
right there for you.
what's the context of this letter?
It's asking people to come to listen about the project. And it says, I will hope you will join the meeting on June 23rd and share your perspective. That's
Please read the letter. Please read. it.
Oh, I'd love
And
to
get your
read
own
that.
perspective.
The letter's from, I'm sorry, the letter's.
The letter's
from the-
directly
oh,
from the mayor.
Okay,
Sent
gotcha.
it.
I'll take a
Yes.
copy. Yes, thank you. Thank you.
I have.
No. No.
I
No.
I had a group of people helping me write out the letters. I'm not sure if it went to every resident. So
It did not.
if not, I do have copy.
Same ones that got the letters about me. That's what she.
Oh, yeah, sure. So. And,
I
and there's
didn't
a
ask for those letters.
sticker on it.
You want to see that one? That one's great.
It's a
That one's good to
sticker
do.
on it. I'll read
Letter
it.
went out about
Thank
me.
You don't
you.
have, you don't have to read it. It's okay.
And
I
it's
just,
sneeze, but I wish I could take.
listen, the only thing I would say is,
Yes.
I don't want to make a big deal out of it, but I would obviously refer to you to your counsel as to whether or not that's an appropriate thing for a decision maker to be doing before it's
I'm gonna
before them,
read it
but
to you.
we'll,
Like, you also had
Review
a
that.
petition-
Make
you also had a
sure.
petition in their ice cream shop
Yeah.
to sign.
Okay.
okay.
There's
No,
no,
wait,
there's no
wait, wait.
petition.
Hold on. We have the public. Can we let the public have their 3 minutes?
Yes.
Oh, I'm sorry.
All right,
I
but
thought we were.
Please, you have a copy,
Thank
okay?
Okay.
Please, sir,
Yes,
come forward.
Right forward here. Sorry for the delay.
Thank you
Sorry.
all for your time. John Cumming, Westchester Avenue, resident for the last 12 or 13 years. Like to consider myself a young member of this community because I'd like to be lifelong. My kids are in BV and FGL in going into second and fifth grade. So generally, I'd like to think that of all the studies and surveys and all this being done, Mr. Bob's is probably the most accurate because he walks around all the time talking to everybody and anybody. So if he says it's about 50-50, I generally believe you. And I'm glad to hear that you're on the fence today. I have been talking to quite a bit of my neighbors of all ages, more predominantly the parents of children in our schools, of my friends and sports teams. They're overwhelmingly against this. It is not even close to 50%. So the folks that want to live here and grow here and raise multi-generations here are against this because it's not about the taxes. It's about the quality of life. The gentleman that's been here for 4 years, I'm sorry your taxes have gone up. That was scheduled to happen before you moved here. I should have been prepared for it. It's still considerably lower than every community around here. That's why you moved here. On top of how great this quality of life, it's the biggest the only small town an hour outside of the city that you really get this and can grow and know all your neighbors. Sir, one thing that bothers me is both the seems like a consultant as well as a board is not sure that we could put the stops on this and discretionarily stop this. It is overwhelmingly above majority from the town and from seemingly the board that's been here for many years that they're not sure this can, but we want to wait and see how these other developments are going to play out because they are going to change our quality of life and our taxes because they're not going to bring enough tax increase or tax base to offset the expanded services that we're going to require.
You have a minute, sir.
Thank you. So you seem very adamant that you just want to get it started, but it's absolutely discretionary and they can stop if they don't want it or if the community doesn't want it. So would you both get up here, look me in the eye and shake my hands that is, if the town does not want this, that you would back off? Are you willing to, this is going to take quite a bit of expenses in surveys, engineering, all this on the board that we're going to have to pay. And if this doesn't go through, are you going to recoup us for that? Or are the fees or the,
Any of the fees that
are they going to
pay and the
also?
consultants are paid for by the developer.
Thank you for laughing. I'm going to go home and take a shower after your performance because you were just, it's all at your risk. So before, if we aren't sure, if the head consultant of the board is not sure that we can stop this, do we need to just let this begin? If you're not sure, and if you aren't sure, and it does go and we can't back out of this when it's overwhelming that the residents don't want this.
There's a process
Who
to
does
go
this?
through where you determine significant impact, whether there's a negative or positive declaration. That will not occur even if this was to move forward on July 7th. That would probably not incur until the beginning of next year,
And since,
possibly. And probably 4 or 5 more opportunities for you and everyone else to study, to look at what they've presented.
how about to stop? Not just
Well,
study.
to stop.
What if we
Absolutely.
study something we don't want and we get jammed
Absolutely.
down?
Then we stop it.
Or,
All right. And who
or
sets
we
the sale
review
price?
The information, and you'll have an opportunity to look at that
And do we as
information and
residents-
say, you know what, that is a significant impact. It should stop. And at that point, it stops.
Thank you. I'm sorry to talk. I'm just trying to stay in my time here.
No.
I'm sorry for raising. I'm
We're
trying to speak loud for recording, and I'm excited about this. Very passionate.
Yeah, so are we.
Also, do the residents get to say if we decide to sell this and what the price we sell this at? Do we get a say, or is that strictly to the board?
That's it's in a public hearing. It's village property.
That's what I heard.
It's public hearing
That the problem.
with 3 acres,
Yeah.
correct? Yes.
Anything and everything, anything that we could have any additional say as residents to voice our
I think
concern.
more residents should be involved every day.
Completely
you know?
agree, and I
Yeah.
intend to change that. So
Good. Thank you. We appreciate it.
I'd like to yield any time remaining to Sal.
No, your time was up a
Okay,
minute ago.
Sal, poor Sal.
So it took 4 minutes.
Yes, Vito Calcutti, Gallagher Street. I think the very first thing that should be done here is to have a survey to see if the people that want it. If the majority of the people don't want it, then they should just leave. And that should be the end of the conversation. Don't waste our time. Don't waste your time. Don't waste anybody's time. We'll go by what the people want. The whole thing with going down by Lents Cove on what's underneath there, if it's contaminants, and that's all of a sudden the village's problem. Now, we were talking about $1 million to possibly fix this problem. It may be $5 million because you don't know what's down there. Now, all of a sudden, that's the village's problem. You didn't even get involved with the Hudson River Keepers Association, any of that stuff, the environmentalists. So you don't know what's there.
Sure. That's for
And
sure.
they don't care. They could care less what's under, because that's your problem. So it should go to the public first to see what the people want, and then go from there.
All right.
And hell with what they want.
I will do up a survey. And if I have to go door to door, I will be happy to do that.
And I'll be more than happy to go with you.
All right. Thank you. All right. I just want, you know, I think we all want the right thing for the village, and we need input from the residents.
Thank you.
Rest my 3 minutes.
You don't have any. You don't
Come
have
on,
any,
Sal.
Sal.
Right after me. Good evening. My name is Susanna, coming out right on John's, my husband's thought. If the board goes with the process and you get all the information necessary, and there's nothing too impactful, but we just don't feel like doing this because we don't feel it's right for us, and then the board decides that we will not go with the process, does the developer has the say, and can they sue us for the cost that they inquire while going through the process? If there's nothing impactful, there is not too impactful traffic, too impactful environment, but we still don't want to do this, can they sue us? We have to pay them?
So
for their costs?
David, you explained the process. In your hold on a minute. David explained the process, and in your explanation, my understanding was that there is a point after we look at the data that if we feel it is not some project we want to bring to the village, that we can then say thank you, but no thank you. without any consequence.
Correct,
Is that correct?
correct.
So
This
to
is,
answer you,
this is a purely discretionary action
Mhm.
by the village board. And at any point in time during the process, if they say, we don't want to do this anymore, then they tell the applicant, we're done, and the applicant goes away.
There is no loophole that they could potentially, clearly they
This is
loved it and they're ready to build it, so they have the best lawyers.
This is at their risk. This process is at their risk.
and they admitted on camera that this is their risk. So, okay, thank you. Thank you. Okay.
Hi, Tanya Drezick from Travis Avenue. The village is working. No, I don't think. Oh, okay. The village does not need to be a landlord for a restaurant. Restaurants have a huge failure rate, and does the village need to chase down rent every month? Why do they offer this shiny penny of Lentz Cove to us? Because the property with the clay hole, Griffin's property, can't be used to build this complex. They need the property. They need our village property that is attached to the sewer treatment plant. They want the 3 acres because it's land they can use. They can't use the clay hole for development. They don't care what we want at Lentz Cove. That survey is from a lot of town of Cortland residents. I know people that want a ramp access for their boats and their canoes. We have restaurants right down the road on the river already. We don't need another restaurant. We do not need one. Survey the Buchanan residents. Ask us what we would like. 424 apartments if this goes through, with 11 townhomes. I would prefer ownership to apartments. That would be 435 new dwellings. Also, Darlene is online and wants to talk. She's
Yeah.
a Oh, you
speak up.
can't? Okay. I'll tell her that. And that's all I have to say.
Thank you.
Thank you, Anya.
Hi there, Lisa Mercora. So I just wanted to, since we've been talking about this point of no return, can we just make sure we have total clarity on what is the point of no return for the extra piece of land that the village owns, sell or no sell? And what is the point of no return for the other part, if they're separate, which is the 232 unit building? Is the point of no return for that once we make the zoning change? Because we got to be really careful if there's 2 different points of no return, what the 2 are. Make
David,
sure.
can you answer that?
So if the village board approves the zone, goes through the environmental review and issues a negative declaration and concludes the environmental review process and then adopts the zoning, they're putting in place the mechanism to start the process. So the point of no return is before you even get to environmental determination, this board has to say, all right, you know what? We're not going to go through with this. And they stop the process. Again, purely discretionary action by the village board. I can't make it more clear than that.
Yeah.
Once they finish the environmental review and they apply the zoning, the point of no return is reached.
Right, because then they're going to go forward.
They'll
and
go
if they
forward with the
don't-
sale of the property. Right.
Okay, so the zoning change is the big thing.
The zoning change. That's why we're here.
Okay, the next thing is, I would just love for this time with this development that we really talk about the net benefit to the village. I know this gentleman before spoke about development, is going to help us make our tax dollars back and help us not have these big tax increases. But when we spoke about AMS, one of the big points that came up was $250,000 of tax revenue to the village, and whatever also to the school district, which is divided amongst a bigger population. So let's leave that out because we're talking about the village. It was 250,000 revenue at the time to the village, which has now grown a little bit because of all the factors going on in our economy. And I think we now think AMS is going to bring us 300,000 revenue. But on one of the meetings with Mr. Baumgartner, was that his name, from AMS, Baumgarten, whatever, the representative from AMS. On the meeting on March 6th of 2024, I spoke up and I asked him, what would be the net benefit to the village? Do we know that number? And he said, I'm going to paraphrase, but he said, we do feel that there will be a net positive for the village. He
You
did
have a
not
minute.
at that time talk about the 250,000. He spoke of a remainder. He said he was confident that there was going to be a positive net effect for the village. He and his colleague were in the first row. They were rifling through some papers, trying to find it. They did not find it at that spot at that time. I asked the question multiple times, what is the net benefit? So if the environmental assessment or the enhanced environmental assessment talks about stormwater, infrastructure, power, police, water, future expenses, typically anything to do with fire, more police, whatever, I would like to know not just this tax revenue number, but the true net benefit that the village will have. And I know some of it will be estimated and will actually also maybe not hit us that first year. It might be next year when
Time's up.
Okay.
Thank
that's-
you.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. And I gave you an extra minute since David spoke. So you
Okay.
know you have 4 minutes. Okay.
And I do also want to say thank you for your service. I've
Thank you.
spoken and I've forgotten to say that because this is hard stuff you guys are doing.
Thank you so much.
Nick, I'm glad you're here because I have a question to ask you about the LWRP. It's not working.
they don't work.
You have to speak loud,
It's being recorded.
Oh,
but it's just for
All right.
everybody in the
So,
audience can't hear you.
Nick Zachary. Tomorrow will be 35 years since I moved here. And full disclosure, I'm the chairman of the planning board. I don't intend to make any comments for or against this project, but a couple of things just to clarify. One is the AMS project and the other project going on 9A account for about 220 units?
It's
A little over 200 units. And when the
51.
mayor says 420 something new units, that includes those. This project is asking for 222?
32.
232. Okay. So, the board will have to make that determination, whether the planning board or the village board does the site plan review. As Lisa alluded to, the big thing here is whether or not to proceed with the zoning change. When we did the overlay zone, there was talk about possibly extending it up Blakely and including that area. I think we just, it had already been drafted and we thought if we needed to do that, we could do that later. But even with the overlay zone numbers, you don't get anywhere near 232 units. I don't remember the exact number per acre, but I think we'd be coming in at around half that. So the zoning change allowing to go to that number of units is more than just a zoning change to include it in the overlay zone. Am I correct on that, David?
Hold on.
Okay,
There
back.
we go.
It's back.
We're on.
I have to switch cards.
Oh.
You want me to say everything I just said over again?
No, maybe just the last.
We got you, Nick.
Hold on.
Clock's still running.
And we're rolling.
You're good.
Okay, you're good.
So, I was just wanted to clarify what the zoning change they're requesting is. If it's just a matter of including it in the overlay, it doesn't get to 232 units. So, what else?
So
Yeah.
what the applicant is requesting is to have the C1, C2 overlay applied to the project site, which includes their property and then the 3 acres adjacent to that. And then under column 3A in the use table in the zoning, that's where the density calculation is applied for this particular project. And that density is 28 units per 40,000 square feet prorated. So that's the same density calculation.
28 units,
28 units per 40,000 square
which is
feet.
roughly an acre.
Prorated, right? And that's the same density or the same zoning that was applied to the AMS property. I don't know if
But
AMS,
that, if I'm not mistaken, that's a 7-acre parcel.
which
The parcel being,
The three.
oh,
when you actually run the numbers,
oh,
they're
the
actually
plot
coming in-
thickens.
we're actually coming in lower on the density.
So it's not just a matter of the density allowed in their 7 acres. They want it would become a 10-acre parcel, so that gets them there. Okay. Well, you guys got your work cut out for you. So the other thing I wanted to just clarify was,
Minute.
I have a minute.
I
So,
give you 5 because they.
okay, just quickly, the process, is there any site plan review done prior to that zoning amendment? Because it seems like you need to sort of, at least in some level, work on the site plan in your head in order to make a decision about that zoning change. And yet, I don't think you really go to a full site plan review until that zoning text amendment is completed, if it does go through.
Yeah, so as part of the submission materials that the applicant will come back with, they will have engineering plans, which will show how the site lays itself out. They'll show grading. They may get into some landscaping. The primary importance of having those plans prepared is particularly for like the fire department, so they can evaluate fire access in and around the building.
Right.
It also provides the engineers with an understanding of how the building and the improvements sit on the property with respect to stormwater management, erosion control.
Oh, okay.
So there will be plans that will be in maybe not quite site plan level submission details, but pretty close.
Okay. So that 3 acres is the back portion of the sewer plant, the undeveloped woods behind the sewer plant there. Okay. Okay. So now I understand how you get to the number. Thank you.
Nick, can I just ask you a question on the LWRP?
Yeah.
How many, I know there were Town of Cortland residents and Buchanan residents. Do you remember how many Buchanan residents responded to that survey?
It's hard to give an exact number because there was separate meetings and surveys done for applying for our area for and the Buchanan portion of the survey and discussion. I think there were over 100 or roughly 100 participants. I could check that number. I have the paperwork home. But to say that whether 50 of them were from Buchanan, and because anybody could go to any of those meetings and answer the survey. Whether it was half Buchanan residents or 2/3 or 1/3, I don't know.
Thanks, Nick.
Thank you, Nick.
Appreciate it.
Hi, my name is Greg Hansen, Rockledge Avenue. I've been here for about 6 years. In general, I think I am squarely in the camp of against large scale new development. We've already seen 2 projects greenlit. It's happening. I think in general, we should see how that works out. Obviously, there are some people that feel that way and others who don't. But there are a lot of new developments happening in the area. Peekskill has a lot of new developments. Croton, we have yet to see how many of those units will be filled. In my opinion, building a lot, knocking down trees, doing all of the stuff, and then having essentially large scale vacant units helps nobody. There's a lot of units in the town coming in. And we just don't know what the impact will be. And so I would just love to see what happens and then move forward. The project has already been kicked a year down the road. We're obviously, these projects stack and take a lot of time. So I don't know. I understand that the tax implications are a part of the whole process, but we can't put that land back to use as green space once it's not green space anymore. We can't undo damage done to waterways and the waterfront, and there's always a lot of unintended consequences. And so I just wanted to voice that. So thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
And I think on the environmental form, if I'm not mistaken, I just read it quickly. It was, you're looking to take 5 acres, clear 5 acres of trees. I think that's what it was. You know, yeah. I'll look at it again. I think it was about 5 acres. So, yes, ma'am.
You know who I am, Diane
Yes.
Tangent. I'm 4th generation in this village. I've lived here my whole life. I have to say that it's the character of the village that I think a project of that size, one more project. I'm really not in favor of it. I do feel terribly the impact of the taxes, especially the school taxes. I am a senior citizen. I live on a very fixed income, but I really want to leave the village the way it is. I really like it how it is. I do think the studies will probably be fine. Certainly traffic study will be absolutely fine. When they began building Indian Point, there was no Louisa Street, Route 9 was 9A. So that won't be a problem. We had thousands of workers over there at one time. I know traffic won't be a problem. I'm sure some of the other things won't either. I think our fire department is not overworked right now. I might get shot for saying that, but you know, I don't know why we don't merge all of our fire departments, but I have to say that I think the character of the village would change, and I don't think this is how we should get the money. And it's wonderful to see so many people here tonight. I'm sure a lot of them are from your letter, and I do think it's wrong not to send it to everybody. But
Apologize for
I
that.
wish you would all write to your congressmen and to your senators and try to get money for the Stranded Act,
Absolutely.
which is we are sitting in this village with all that spent fuel over there. And you know who's getting the money? Holtec.
Absolutely.
We need to up the pilot program. We've got to get money some other way. And it should be because we're sitting there with all of that spent fuel. And I thank you for all your work. And I know this is terrible. I like all of you so much. And I really appreciate it. But I have to say, I'm not for that project.
Thank you, Diane.
Thank you. Oh.
Good evening, Will Mayrick. I live over with my family on Hilltop Road. Thank you for this opportunity tonight to hear all the different folks discuss their different aspects. I just think, because I'm an old guy, so I'm used to waiting for stuff for a while. I just think we have a brand new project here that isn't completely online, fully online. We don't know what that experience is. I think we need to digest that experience from all the different aspects, how that affects the community and the services, environment, and so forth, to digest that, step back and say, okay, now what do we think? But to move forward, to consider anything until we have a good sense of what that experience is to the community, I think we would be shortchanging ourselves. Thank you for the time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So some good conversations, some good questions, and I will say to the attorney, the letter brought out people pro and con. So I just want everyone to get a feel of what people are thinking. And I think there were some good comments. And I just wish there were this many people that came to every meeting to see exactly what's going on every day here in the village. It's your village. We work for you. Any other comments? Is there anything else you'd like to say? You look like you want to say something.
That's it. Then we'll see you
Okay.
on the 7th. Just want to confirm that's going to be on the agenda.
I guess we're moving forward.
Yeah, I just want to thank you for coming in, and I just want to take a moment to apologize for the way you were, you know, everything was handled in the very beginning. I think you guys come in here to invest in this village. There's a lot of questions. Obviously, a lot of neighbors came out tonight with a lot of questions. There's a lot of questions the board has, and it's a process. So I just want to, you know, just take the time to thank you. Your guests in this house, you should be treated as such, and, you know, apologize for the way
We look
things were
forward
handled in the very
to future
beginning.
meetings.
So no problem.
Just so you know, I'm away on the 7th, so I think Aaron's going to be here. It's not because I didn't want to be here.
Is that why he's been taking so many notes?
That's one of them.
Deal.
But, you know,
Nobody should
to see
be
you.
treated like that who walks.
Oh, so
Nobody.
So anyhow, we're moving on to the next thing.
Thank you and good night.
Done. Anyhow, so going along with this, there's been a mention of a discussion regarding the retaining special counsel for this project.
Yep.
Would anyone like to,
I mean, I've spoken with him several times. He's actually the motion's on for July 7th. And I had asked him if he could be here, which would be nice. So he's supposed to let me know what his schedule is. But yeah, it is exactly because we have so many of these projects going on that it takes a lot of time. And not only time, you know, you have to get one project in your head and another project. And this is all.
no, there's a lot, Stephanie,
Yeah,
we appreciate.
all he
because
does.
You've done, had a lot thrown at you. There's a lot going on here. You do the planning board, the zoning board, the village board, and I know it's been stressful. It's just a lot going on.
Thank you.
All at
But
once.
This gentleman only does
Land use?
So he's
Okay.
not,
All right.
so he's like an expert in it.
Okay. So the board, you know, he'll come in, explain what he's going to do, and then the board will make a decision whether to hire counsel.
Yep.
Okay. Thank you, Steph.
Sure.
Okay. Dave Smith, you're up again.
Okay.
In the hot seat a lot tonight.
It's all right. So, at our last work session, you had asked we had a discussion about the proposed rezoning for the properties on the west of Broadway that are currently zoned M2. And most of the discussion was around how to treat the Certainty property. And I think the way it shook out and the way it's reflected in the revised zoning language is that Certainty they would have their own overlay, waterfront development overlay zone that would be applied to their property. But underneath that would be the waterfront development district, which is for the balance of the property, which would allow for mixed use and commercial activities. So this allows Certainty to remain as a permitted principal use under the code, and that's the only use permitted in that overlay district. In the event that that plant, for whatever reason, goes away, or then the underlying zoning would take place. So that's the one change that we made in the proposal to reflect your input. And in addition, there was, as part of this, there is an amendment to the comprehensive plan to reflect the proposed zoning. And in the language that we had prepared, we had included, here it is. So we had made some amendments to reflect the phasing out of the Indian Point property eventually at some point in time. And then we had added some language that said that the village notes the existing gypsum manufacturing plant is strategically located within the New York metropolitan area, particularly given its deep water access. Proposed zoning would allow gypsum manufacturing to remain as a permitted principal use. So that was language that that Certainty was concerned about with respect to, they wanted to make sure that there's a recognition that that this plant is an extremely valuable asset for them, but not only for them, but for your community and for the region. And they wanted to make sure that it be allowed to remain as is under the guise of the proposed zoning.
We're not looking to get
No.
ring of them.
No,
You
no,
know,
and
they
that
can
the-
continue operation.
Right, and from the very beginning, you were not looking to get rid of them. You were just looking to make sure that it was properly administered through zoning. So I think this does that, it accomplishes that based on your input. So the procedurally, you've already gone through the notice of intent to act as lead agency. You got comments back from the planning board, from Westchester County, neither of whom objected to you acting as lead agency. And at that point in time, you were going to declare yourself lead agency and then schedule a public hearing. So the resolution that's in the package is just for that, so that you declare yourself lead agency. If you want to set a public hearing, then you could do that now, or you could wait. It's up to you. Just note that I'm also away July, your meeting in July. I'm out of the town, but if you want to do it later in August, I'll be around to make myself available.
And one of the other questions I'm going to ask you was, there was a discussion at the Decommissioning Oversight Board meeting with the property where the training building is.
Yeah.
And they're working on preliminary release of that property. It's very preliminary.
Yep.
They're doing borings, there's lab testing, there's, they're working because there was cesium found there.
Yeah.
So they are working on doing things. There was a conversation about there's the parking lot there that they haven't done yet because there's equipment parked on it. Is that something we're looking at also at the same time, or we're just looking at one property right now?
We're just treating it as one property right now.
Okay.
With the understanding though that there are different sections, like the part up by Lents Cove
Right.
may be released at some point in time. There may be another piece, like you talked, the training facility may be released at some point in time. And so the goal here is to have the zoning in place so when those properties are released to the development community, you have the zoning in place to allow for the development that you're looking to have.
Yeah, I think that's what we're working towards, but I know, and it's been in the papers and things like that, that Holtec is looking to do a data center there. So I know the board, I don't know much information other what I've read in different communities. So that's going to have to be a conversation with the board if that's something they're interested in looking at. I'm as you're hearing throughout the country, the different communities and
My suggestion is if they want to come back and propose a data center, let them do that. They're going to have to go through the same process. But I think, for now, you're set up to at least advance to the next stage, the rezoning for the properties to the west of Broadway.
Okay. All right. So you're not going to be here July 7th, our next meeting. So
You can certainly take the action of declaring yourself lead agency. If you want to schedule a public.
Okay.
It would just be a resolution.
That's
after
correct.
that.
And the resolution is included in your package. We could just modify it slightly. If you have a date in mind, we can add the date. If you want to hold off on that, we can do that.
All right. What would the board like to do? Would you like to put that on for the July meeting?
So you won't be here.
Just a
in July.
resolution.
Just the resolution, that's all. That's all.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Right.
just,
30 days for them.
yeah, by the
Yeah.
time.
To be lead agent.
For the-
Well, no, you've already gone through the process of notifying, issue a notice.
Right.
You haven't formally declared yourself
Correct.
lead agency. It's just a procedural step. That's all.
All righty. Thank you, Dave.
Welcome.
Do you have anything else for us? While we have you here?
No,
No, you're running through your life.
I've had enough.
Oh, my goodness.
No, thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Dave. Enjoy your vacation.
Thank you.
Thank you.
George, you're here with us this evening. What do you have for us?
Few updates.
Okay, good.
Road improvement projects.
Use the mic so I can't. It's still being recorded.
Just talk loud.
Excuse me. The road improvement projects, we just received bonds and insurances, and I think Stephanie's reviewing some of the bonds. And we're going to start that probably pretty soon. As soon as we get a schedule, as soon as those get approved and we have an agreement. The PPP, we submitted to the DEC right after our last
Speak up a
meeting.
little bit.
You know
I
what?
can't hear you.
I'm sorry.
George, not everybody knows the abbreviations and
Oh,
stuff, so.
The public participation plan, we mentioned it earlier tonight about the increasing the sewage plant capacity from 500 to 750. After our last meeting, we submitted all our information to our updated plan to the DEC with the information that Dave gave us, and we still haven't heard back from them.
Okay.
And then we have the pavilion. So we received some information about the pavilion. Do you have that slide that you can put up? You leaving, David?
All right, Dave, thank you. Have a good night.
Thank you, Dave. Good night.
Is this what you're?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Here's the slide. We'll put the slide up.
So
George, did you get
Just
your
look at
review from the engineer?
he gave us,
Should we have a chance to review all that before we?
so it basically says that this is the product of what he's done so far, with loading. So what we have there, you have it up on the screen. And I wanted to go over this part of it because this is important. Basically, our steel frame is 1/2 inch thick steel members. The flanges, which is the bottom part and the top part of the steel, and the middle part, which is the web, they're all 1/2 inch or roughly thereabouts. And what he's saying is that we need a 1/4 inch added on to all these almost all these 75% of these members. And then we need to add some thickness to our columns, our vertical members. And this is kind of eye-opening to me. I got this and I wanted to reach out to one of our fabricators, the guy who worked on it before. We reached out to him. We said, hey, what's this going to cost to weld these members on here? Because that's an important thing to know. He said, well, what does it cost? He said it's going to be pretty close what it costs to replace it. And he said, well, the other problem we're going to have is these new members and these new loads are going to put new forces on our existing foundations. So that's going to be a problem too. So now we have what we started out as just a repair is now turning into a replacement. Pandora's box. So we got some prices, just to give you an idea of prices. We got some prices to replace the steel, which was about $400,000. To paint it, that's just primed. To paint it was about another 100,000, so it's 500,000. To take down the structure was about 100,000. To put up the roof was 500,000. So we're looking at new foundations, another 500,000. So we're talking about $1.5 million based on the numbers we got just from this one drawing. And we reached out to Jim Thacker, who's our grant guy, to see if there's any grants out there to support a project of this magnitude. So that's where I wanted to share where we're at right now before we start going further and getting to, into drawings. So it says, this is not a design, we can't go out to bid with this. So I gave it to Mark and Son Steel. They're a local fabricator of steel. There's another one, Dutchess County Steel. They do fabrication too. Just to get an idea of where we're at with numbers and costs and whatnot.
That's
So-
fabrication and installation.
This is
You came up with $1.5 million in fabrication and installation.
No, it's to put up the steel is roughly 500,000 painted steel.
Well, you told me demo.
The demo's
new
another.
wall, The new roof, the new steel, and the new footings, 1.5 million.
Yeah, so the roof
That
is,
to fish plate this would be the same expense as putting a new one on.
so the fish plating it and the doing the steel, that number doesn't change. So that number is still the $400,000, right? So you still have to take all the steel, take all the paint off the steel. You still have to paint it, right? So that $100,000 you got to pay one way or the other. So the new roof, you still need a new roof. That's $500,000. You probably still need the foundations anyway because you have now a new snow load requirement and you have more steel. So now you have more steel. So now the 500 for the steel and the 500 for the foundations, you're going to need both of those. Whether you're rehabilitating the steel or because you can't use
So
the
in this
existing.
drawing, You're telling me we need foundation, so why'd you even give this to us?
No, I gave this to you because this is what's telling me.
It's useless, is what it is. It's useless because you're telling me I need new foundations if I put steel on top of it.
Yes.
So it's useless.
But,
Well, but it's telling
You
you,
need a new building.
that's what this is telling me. You're,
So you're trying to tell us this is where we're at right now?
that's exactly right. I'm trying to tell you where we're at right now. And before we start saying, well, here's a design for fixing it, to add this steel and go out to bid for that, we're going to need a new foundation for this. And that's,
So that's exactly it. So we need a new structure.
we need a new structure.
There's no sense that what are you gonna do, underpinning on the footings? The existing footings?
Exactly. You can't pin, well, you could try to pin to it and add to it, but once you
Only
start
if you
doing
add
all
that additional steel.
But you also have the additional.
You could
roof of
engineer,
steel.
you could engineer underpinning
You could,
at a value that may be still cheaper than putting up a new structure.
you could. I'm just telling you, we could go down the path of trying to rehabilitate it, or we could go down the path of,
Could there be some other alternative for the roof structure? Some other type of
Safe alternative.
Fiberglass?
something? Yeah.
I don't know.
so it's pretty light right now as it is. It's not the roof that's the cost. The cost here is, or what's driving the cost is the additional, the code. The code changed with the additional. So you're going from 35 to 40. Sounds like nothing. But it's like going from 20,000 pounds to 30 or 40,000 pounds. So it's a huge increase. That change in the code is, and the hope was that, well, you might have to change just a column and then you'd be okay. But you're not just changing a column, you're changing 75% of the structure.
Yeah, and I don't know why they would bring the fish plate so far away from the footing, the extra weight. You're losing leverage.
So they put it through their computer model and they
Exactly.
figure out where the stresses
I'm
are.
always fixing engineers' problems on a daily basis. That's what I do. Just wanted you to hear say.
The computer model.
He's gonna get out in the field more, I'll tell you.
Well, this is the structural engineer, so.
And George, what amazes me, it's a quarter of an inch,
Quarter of an inch.
It's basically a sliver of,
Of steel. And what the problem is that you have prevailing wage and you have
yeah.
to weld this all on in the field. You have to strip it all down first.
Gotta be saying.
And you got to sandblast it first and then you got to put it on. And it's expensive to do this. And even we reached out to one of the manufacturers. We said, well, what if happens when we take this down? You do it in your shop and bring it back to us. He said, no, I'm not going to do that. So, I mean, that was one
That
person.
was a bubble or one of those, even a tent.
A dome?
Yeah.
Yeah, the dome. We have one near us. They have airlocks and whatnot, and they have cable system on top.
But if the
and-
structure itself is fine, it's the roof that is a concern. Is there some other creative, that we can salvage the structure and just replace
Low.
the overhead and make sure that, close it during the winter so there is no impact on the snow?
Yeah, like a retractable roof that you
Something
take out.
creative that there has to be somebody out there.
I like that
with
idea, like
some thoughts.
A retractable roof.
Well, not only that, something that would be kind of support itself over top of the whole structure.
Yeah.
I mean, if the village is looking to replace that, then like Steve said, there's possible other options, how to look at that. Yes, sir. Mr. Peter, absolutely.
In 50 years, as it's.
Yes, we have.
Pete, you gotta talk to the mic.
Why can't we just install a heating system to melt the snow with the excessive snow to keep the snow off the roof?
Yeah.
And then eliminate the load. I'm confused.
Or you just shut the use in the winter.
That's what, we'll shut the use, but then eliminate the snow.
And eliminate the
You're
snow.
worried about
yeah.
the snow load
Because
of
some
40
gentleman
pounds.
came in
Yeah,
here.
Yeah,
It
that's
said
what I'm saying.
20
That's
mile an hour wind, we can't
Yeah,
use
right.
it.
Right.
Yeah.
Nobody invited him
Yeah.
to say that, believe
50
me.
years, yeah.
He shot from the hip with that comment. So now we're gotta go by what George is saying.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right.
So, and then.
An unvalidated comment.
Yeah, I have a hard time with it. Yeah. What is snow?
Is
heat
there,
load.
is there still an issue if there's a heavy wind? I know that gentleman said that, but is it just the load on the top? Is it the wind that could
Well,
get underneath. I don't know.
the-
I'm just, you know, I'm not an engineer.
The load of the snow is, the driver here that's
If it's over,
changing,
it's-
Okay.
is the driver, so.
All right.
No, but we can ask for something, like you said, a creative solution, like a retractable roof or a temporary, something, a canvas that you put over the top in the summer and you take it down in the winter.
We have to be creative, like Steve said. I
Yes.
believe Steve is right. That's the right
Me
path.
too.
So,
Let's look down every avenue.
so this is just an update of where we're at, just to get this kind of feedback, and that's what we need to see where we can go. Because I look at it and it looks fine. It's straight. It's everything about it is fine to
There's nothing
me.
wrong with it.
And
You can make it like a
doesn't-
trampoline,
It
you know,
leaks.
with the
It leaks.
springs and you
That's
got
all that's wrong with it.
the canvas,
That's correct. So,
you know, like a trampoline. You know, like
Right.
you have the springs and then the canvas over it. You just want to block the sun and possibly rain, but even if not, then it won't be used when it's raining. But at least we could use it
exactly. I mean,
when camp is in session or,
Right.
you know, but there should be some solution.
so I'm gonna take these thoughts back
Okay.
to
Back to the drawing
Steve
board.
and try to
So we would
brainstorm.
Remove the existing roof.
Correct.
Remove the existing roof. And put some kind of cable and rubberized roofing over it.
And yes,
And no use during the winter.
something like that. We'll see where that takes us.
Yeah.
So.
Thank
All right,
you.
Sounds good.
Thanks, George.
All right.
All right, George, thank you.
Anything else?
No, I think that's it.
Okay.
I think that's it. Thanks, George. Have a good night.
Good night, George. Thanks for your engineering expertise.
Okay. So I just have a few things on July 4th at 9 a.m. I think we're going to be at the gazebo on the front lawn of the village. Judge O'Neill, who was former mayor, used to do every year on July 4th. He would read the Declaration of Independence. So he will be there at 9 a.m. Anyone that would like to come. Also, Assemblywoman Dana Levenberg was offering copies of the Declaration of Independence. I have reserved 75 of those. So anyone that comes and would like a copy of that, all for them. I spoke quickly about the DOB meeting. That was the Decommissioning Oversight Board meeting. Here I'm complaining to George not to use the abbreviations, but so there was a discussion on that. There was a discussion on doing what basically is called an autopsy of the plant as they're decommissioning so that it would potentially help other communities or other plants that are getting extended life. So that was one of the thoughts there. Long discussion on that. Sounds reasonable, makes sense. Today was a busy day. The seniors had their installation dinner. We went their installation lunch. We were there today. It was lovely. Good time as always. That we have a fun senior group. They're a really good group. Also the press conference I mentioned with the extension of the cessation. And also I asked Senator Harckham what that payment would look like for the village. So Marcus, I'm not sure if it's 116,000, it's 20%. So whatever the lowest amount was it.
I already worked out the numbers.
Okay, what,
So we're still gonna, we're still at a higher level. So next year, next fiscal year, we're gonna lose another $160,000 estimate. The year after that is when the extension will kick in if the governor signs the law. That will be a loss of about 230,000. That'll be pushed off for 5 years. So the last year, we would have lost over 200,000. That gets pushed back for 5 years to the end.
Right.
But we still lose 160,000 next year.
so it's 116?
116.
Okay, all right. Because I thought I heard you said 160.
Sorry,
so-
116.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. All right. Well, something. Let's see. Oh, and then I had mentioned something. I had emailed the board about sending a letter. So Sharon, I will ask you to do a letter to send to the governor on the village letterhead and from the village board to please sign. What day? If you could do it this week, that would be super duper. Okay, just not Friday. Asking her to please sign the bill. And from the village board. Okay, what else we got here? As I mentioned before, the survey, I had gotten a few questions off of the survey from the LWRP. If anyone else has any thoughts on questions that should be asked, or would you like to see on the survey, please, email me, let me know. Let's see. At the DOB, we quickly had a conversation about the Stranded Act, which now is a different name because Congressman Lawler introduced it. The Stranded Act is not moving forward. So fortunately, Congressman Lawler picked that up and will be, has introduced it. There's a lot of work that needs to happen with that. The school district will be working on it. We're going to work together as a team, the school district, the village, and the town, so we can get that rolling. So all the communities with that Stranded Act that would help them, will be contacting them. What else? I think that's all I have right now. Okay, thank you. Anthony? I'm sorry, go ahead.
I just want to ask, once you have the survey completed, please allow the board to see it before you distribute it to the public.
I will do that.
Thank you.
Is there a way with those surveys to send them out there so people don't send in duplicate copies?
I think they should have their name on it.
Yeah, no, you're right.
They should have their
You're
name
right.
on it.
You
Well,
are
I can write down my name 10 times.
Right.
10 different names.
You're right.
Yep.
This has been I've always been kind of
But if we see the same name 10 times and the address 10 times.
Like I said, I can use
No,
different
you
names.
just put a number on,
Dang.
it, you know,
I
1 to 400.
Yeah, so I think.
think I've seen it in the past where it'd be somewhat flawed. say-
You're right. You're right. No, you're right.
So like a raffle ticket number every one.
True.
Or
Or
they
they
can-
legitimate surveys. Yeah.
Or they have to put their name and their address on it.
Yeah.
And we know who it is. We didn't get much, like with the recreation, we didn't get the response that we should have gotten from that.
But we got
I
enough
think it,
though.
I think it,
We got enough.
I think it has to be, more input than that. I mean, you could do it both ways, but
How would the survey be distributed?
I would like to have it to mail to each resident
Okay.
or each household.
Okay.
I think that would be best. What else? I'm sorry. Anthony, what do you have for us?
Wait, we're not gonna be here for the 4th of July, so,
No.
right?
Yeah.
Right,
Right.
July 7th.
yeah. I don't have much, just happy 4th of July, enjoy the celebrations all the way, everywhere, and be safe, that's all.
Bob, what do you have for us?
I don't have too much. I'd just like to thank everyone that showed up tonight. I've been asking for this for a long time. When I was trusted in the past too, show up here. There's a lot going on in the village. Your voices will be heard as you saw tonight. The only thing I will bring up, a little house cleaning we have to do upon ourselves here as village board in front of our residents when they're speaking. Maybe to calm ourselves down, bickering back and forth a little bit while that's going on. I think is not respectful to the residents that are here to speak their mind. We can deal with our personal differences, personally. And I do have a question regarding the parking situation back here in the corner with the household here.
Yeah.
Where is that going? Was there supposed to be some of the fence removed or?
The last discussion was that the board authorized her to continue parking there until she provides escrow. And we're still waiting for the escrow to be provided so we can do a license agreement to allow her to drive over the village property. So right at this point, still waiting for escrow payment.
Okay, this individual wanted to ask that today, but couldn't speak on the Zoom.
Yeah, we're still waiting for that, that's what we're waiting for.
All right.
And I emailed the lawyer and they keep on saying that she's trying to come up with the money. Yeah, don't see ya. That's it, yeah.
All right, that's all I have.
All right.
Yeah, Dave goes.
Wilda, what do you have for us this evening?
I just want to thank everyone for coming, and I want to share that we're not trying to create any issues, but we want to be respectful of a process. When developers come and they want to share a project with us, we just want to hear it out. We're not trying to do anything that is going to disrespect the village.
Steve, what do you have?
Yeah, I want to thank Senator Harcum and Assemblywoman Levenberg for working hard, as well as Superintendent Trombley for their help with extending the cessation fund. It still is before the governor, so there are, more work to be done, but it does look promising. I thank all the residents that came out tonight. As Wilda said, it is a process. I just hope that everybody has just an open mind to go through the process. It's kind of like sitting, for a jury. You can't just automatically assume that, the person before you is guilty. You have to hear everything out with an open mind. And I think, by not doing that, we're doing a disservice to the residents. So certainly heard a lot of residents tonight, and we'll continue to hear their thoughts and comments as we move forward. So thank you, everybody, and enjoy the 4th.
Okay. Any comments from the floor? Okay. Any exec sessions? Any comments? Or, there's one question, just kind of wondering over by the sewer treatment plant there. I should have asked George. There was an issue that we ran into with one of the property owners there when we were over by the sewer treatment plant. And also we've never gotten back to AAA they came in front of our board and they asked because they've never gotten a response back from the board.
Let me give a brief update on that. That day that we actually walked by that property, George spoke to the property owner and said that it might be an issue in the back of the property. And you have to apply to the planning board to avoid any kind of violations. He said, I will apply to the planning board. He did not. So we got to catch up with George, but George visually saw it. So if we want to move forward, then the building inspector will issue a violation based on engineers' observations, and a violation could be issued on what is happening on that property right now. So I'm glad you brought that up, Teresa. I'll double check with George because he was in communication with the property owner.
And then they had come in months before that, and the board never got back to them with a decision on what they wanted to do. I believe it was a transfer, something about a transfer station. And I know we had discussed it years ago, and the answer with the previous board was a no. And they were waiting to get a response back from our board. So, and then Marcus, whatever's the board's decision, if you could get back to them with that decision.
But they never really gave us clarity on what they were doing.
No.
Yeah.
I don't think
It
they.
was only a discussion.
Yeah, they have to do the same thing, to apply to the board with the change. But
All
they
right,
never
if you could contact
them to do
them
that? Yes.
and
see what they want to do, put it
yeah.
in writing.
Yes.
Yep, no problem.
Perfect. Thank you.
Yep.
Good. All right. So we're done. Thank you, Oh, yeah. Yes, ma'am. We'll give you another minute.
Do I have to time you? No.
This is so quick. I wanted to correct something that I said last meeting because I always try to be as accurate as I can. So I referred to in the IMA with Croton, I referred to something as a plea bargain. Really, that organization did not take a plea bargain, which would assume guilt. They had an adjournment in contemplation of dismissal, which is an ACD. And then also I referred to something as a probationary period. And really it's a period with a schedule of inspections. I'm not a lawyer. I don't know all the correct terms, but I did just want to go on the books and just say that I used some wrong terminology. And as far as whatever future charges or no charges get put against that particular organization, I'm not aware of. I'm not a lawyer. I don't know where that will end up, but I just wanted to correct myself. And then I will be revisiting that with, I have some ideas that I'd like to discuss with maybe Marcus in the future. And so that's that. So I just wanted to correct myself. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Lisa. Thank you. So thank you everyone for coming. Have a great Buchanan Day and happy birthday, America.